long before Back to the Future, long before Interstellar, and long before the story of Rip Van Winkle, the ancient world was obsessed with a specific story about time travel. It is a story about a group of young men who walk into a dark cave to escape a tyrant. They fall asleep. When they wake up, they think they have only napped for a few hours. They are hungry, so one of them sneaks out to the city to buy bread. But when he tries to pay the baker looks at the coin in shock. The coin doesn't have the face of the current king. It has the face of an emperor who has been dead for 300 years. The young man realizes the terrifying truth. He hasn't slept for a night. He has slept for 3 centuries. He went to sleep in a pagan world where Christians were being fed to lions. He woke up in a Christian empire where the cross was on the crown of the emperor. This story, known as the 7 Sleepers of Ephesus, was the blockbuster hit of the Middle Ages. It was told in Greek, in Latin, in Syriac. It was preached in the cathedrals of France and the monasteries of Egypt. But here is the twist. This isn't just a Christian saint story. If you walk into a mosque on a Friday, there is a very high chance you will hear this exact story being recited. It is enshrined in the Quran, in Surah Al-Kahf, the cave. For Muslims, these aren't just folklore characters. They are a sign from Allah, and the Quran adds a detail that the Christian versions often leave out or minimize. It says that sleeping right there beside the men for 309 years was their dog. Today, we are going to explore one of the most fascinating intersections of the Bible or church history and the Quran. We are going to visit the ruined city of Ephesus, analyze the test of the rabbis, and solve the mystery of the holy dog to answer the question: did 7 men really sleep for 300 years? To understand the story, we first have to go back to the source. The earliest versions of this legend appear in the writings of Jacob of Saru, a Syriac bishop around 500 AD, and later in the Golden Legend in the West. The setting is the city of Ephesus, modern-day Turkey. The year is roughly 250 AD. The Roman emperor is Decius. Decius was a real historical figure, and he was brutal. He issued an edict requiring every citizen to perform a sacrifice to the Roman gods and receive a certificate libellus. If you refused, you died. In Ephesus, 7 young noblemen named Maximilian, Jamblichus, Martinian, John Dionysius, Exacustodianus, and Antoninus, though names, very refused to bow. They are devout Christians. Decius gives them a few days to reconsider while he leaves town. Instead of reconsidering, the 7 youths give their property to the poor and flee to Mount Celion. They hide in a cave to pray. Exhausted by grief and fear, they fall asleep. When Decius returns, he is furious. He orders his soldiers to find them. The soldiers find the cave, but instead of dragging the boys out, Decius decides to make them suffer. He orders the entrance of the cave to be sealed with massive stones. He wants to bury them alive. He wants them to wake up in total darkness and starve to death. 2 secret Christians among the soldiers write the names of the martyrs on lead tablets and hide them in the stones, so that one day their bones might be identified. Time passes. Emperors rise and fall. Rome falls. Constantine converts. The world changes. We jump forward to the reign of Theodosius II, roughly 447 AD. A landowner wants to build a cattle shed near the cave. He pulls away the stones to use them for construction. Light floods into the cave, and the 7 sleepers wake up. They rub their eyes. They stretch. They greet each other. "Good morning," they say. "Did you sleep well?" "Not really," one says. "I'm worried Decius is going to catch us." They have no idea that Decius has been dust for 2 centuries. They send one of the boys, Malchus, to buy bread. He goes into the city and is confused. He sees crosses on the gates. He hears people swearing by the name of Christ. He thinks he is dreaming, or that it's a trap. When he pays for the bread with a coin of Decius, the baker accuses him of finding a buried treasure. He is dragged before the bishop and the governor. The truth comes out. They go to the cave. They find the other 6 alive and glowing with a holy light. The Emperor Theodosius himself comes to visit them. The sleepers tell the emperor that God preserved them to prove that the resurrection of the body is real. This was a huge theological debate at the time. Some people said only the soul lives on, not the body. After delivering their message, the 7 sleepers lie back down, close their eyes, and die peacefully. Now, let's travel 1,000 miles south to Mecca. In the year 615 AD, Prophet Muhammad is preaching Islam. The pagan Quraysh tribe doesn't believe him. They want to trap him. They want to prove he is a fake. So, they send a delegation to the Jewish rabbis in Medina. They ask, "Give us some questions that only a true prophet would know. Questions about ancient history." The rabbis say, "Ask him about 3 things. If he answers them, he is a prophet. If not, he is a liar." 1. Ask him about the young men who disappeared in ancient times, the sleepers. 2. Ask him about the man who traveled to the east and west, Dhul-Qarnayn, Alexander. 3. Ask him about the nature of the soul, Ra. Muhammad says, "I will tell you tomorrow." He forgets to say, "Inshallah," God willing, because he forgot to humble himself. The revelation is delayed for 15 days. The pagans mock him. Finally, the angel Gabriel arrives with Surah Al-Kahf, chapter 18. And verses 9 to 26 tell the story of the Ashab al-Kahf, the people of the cave. The Quranic version confirms the Christian story, but it corrects it. It strips away the specific names and the specific dates, focusing entirely on the moral lesson. Quran 18:13. We relate to you their story in truth. They were youths who believed in their Lord, and we increased them in guidance. The Quran paints a vivid picture. It describes how the sun would move to the right and left of the cave, so as not to burn them directly, but keeping them warm. It describes how God turned their bodies from side to side so they wouldn't get bed sores or have their bodies rot into the earth. It describes the terror of seeing them. If you had looked at them, you would have turned back from them in flight, and you would have been filled with terror of them. But the most distinct addition in the Islamic version is the guardian. In the Christian golden legend, there is no dog, but in the Quran, the dog is a central character. Quran 18:18, while their dog stretched his 2 forelegs at the entrance. Tradition names the dog Kitmia. The image is incredibly loyal. The young men go inside to sleep. The dog stays at the mouth of the cave to guard them. And when God puts the men to sleep, he puts the dog to sleep too. For 309 years, the dog lies there, paws stretched out, waiting. This is fascinating because generally, in Islamic legal tradition, dogs are considered ritually impure, najis. You can't keep a dog inside the house. But here, the Quran elevates a dog to the status of a saint. Kitmia is the only animal, along with perhaps the she-camel of Soli, who is popularly believed to enter paradise. Mystics, Sufis, love this detail. They say, if a dirty dog can become a saint just by sitting at the feet of the righteous, imagine what can happen to a sinful human if they sit in the company of the saints. The dog serves as a symbol of steadfastness. He doesn't understand theology. He doesn't know about the Romans. He just loves his masters, and that love saves him. One of the most interesting parts of the Quranic narrative is how it handles the details. The Christians were obsessed with the number 7. They named them. They painted 7 distinct figures. But when the Quran was revealed, the people of Mecca were arguing about the specifics. Was it 3? Was it 5? Was it 7? The Quran refuses to answer. Quran 18:22. They will say there were 3, the 4th of them being their dog. And they will say there were 5, the 6th of them being their dog, guessing at the unseen. And they will say there were 7, and the 8th of them was their dog. Say, my Lord is most knowing of their number. This is a meta-commentary. God is telling Muhammad, don't get dragged into a debate about trivia. It doesn't matter if there were 3 or 7. What matters is the miracle. What matters is that God has power over time. What matters is that God can protect the faithful even when the entire world turns against them. This creates a divergence in how the two religions treat the site. For Christians, the 7 sleepers are specific saints to be prayed to. For Muslims, the people of the cave are a generic archetype of faith under fire. So, did this actually happen? And if so, where? If you go to Ephesus, Turkey today, you can visit the Grotto of the 7 Sleepers. It is a massive Byzantine necropolis. There are hundreds of graves cut into the rock. Archaeologists have found inscriptions on the walls dedicating the site to the 7 Sleepers. It was a huge pilgrimage site in the Middle Ages. Crusaders visited it. This is the most likely candidate for the origin of the legend. However, if you go to Jordan near Amman, there is another site called Al-Rakim. In 1963, archaeologists excavated a cave there. They found 1. 7 sarcophagi stone coffins, 2. Byzantine coins dating to the reign of Theodosius II, 3. A mosque built directly over the cave entrance, which aligns with Quran 18:21. We will surely build a place of worship over them. 4. And the jawbone of a dog. The Jordanian government promotes this as the real cave of the Quran. There are other claimants. In Tunisia, Algeria, and even China, the story became so universal that every culture wanted to claim the sleepers as their own. From a secular historical perspective, the story is likely a pious legend that grew out of the historical memory of the persecutions. Christians did hide in caves. Many did die there. Finding their preserved bodies centuries later, perhaps naturally mummified by the dry cave air, would easily spark a legend that they had just been sleeping. It was a way for the later church to connect with the early martyrs. The story of the 7 sleepers is a rare gem. Usually, when we talk about Bible verses, Quran, we talk about conflict like the crucifixion or the Trinity. But here, we have harmony. Both religions agree on the plot. Both agree on the heroes. Both agree on the moral. The story resonates because it taps into a universal human fear, the fear of change. We are all afraid that the world is moving too fast, that our values are becoming obsolete, that if we went to sleep and woke up 300 years from now, we wouldn't recognize our own home. The 7 Sleepers comforts us. It tells us that no matter how much the world changes from pagan to Christian, from horse to car, from sword to nuclear bomb, truth remains the same. God remains the same. And whether you are a Christian praying to the saints of Ephesus, or a Muslim reciting Surah Al-Kahf on a Friday, you are looking at the same dark cave and seeing the same light. What do you think? Is the story a myth or a miracle? And which cave do you think is the real one? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this deep dive into the shared history of faith fascinating, please hit that like button and subscribe for more content that uncovers the real stories behind our beliefs. Thanks for watching.